Hello and welcome to this introductory video on receiving in GBMS. GBMS allows users to perform all receiving functions from the GBMS application that runs on your PC, as well as from an additional data collection program that runs on handheld computers and tablets. This introductory video will focus on receiving functions within the GBMS application. Please also watch our introductory videos that show how to perform these same receiving functions using our data collection program that is designed to be used on tablets and handheld computers. GBMS allows us to receive items that are on a purchase order that we send to a vendor, and we may also receive items from a known vendor where there is no PO, which is called receiving without PO. Let's first take a look at how to receive a regular PO that we send to a vendor from GBMS. Once a PO is created and approved in GBMS, we go to Warehouse Management, Fulfillment Processing, and Receiving. Here we see a list of all open POs in GBMS that we may receive against. If we click on one of these POs, a receiver will be automatically created for us and we will be in the receiving form. There are several tabs in this receiving form that gives us all the information we need to know about the PO, the vendor, the items on the PO, and the warehouse we're receiving the items into. However, we always start by first entering in a packing slip number. Next, we click on the PO Lines tab, where we see all the items on the PO, the PO quantity, and the open quantity. The Receive Lines tab is where we receive our items. Here we can locate items by using either the PO line number or the item number. If we choose to use the item number, we can either enter it or scan it. Let's enter an item from our PO. Notice that as we begin to type the first few characters of our item's ID, that the lookup function quickly finds our item on the PO and we can just select it. Next, we enter in the quantity that shows on the packing slip and then tab to our Receive Quantity field, where we can accept the packing slip quantity that was automatically entered for us, or we can enter a different amount. GBMS has settings to allow you to accept or enter the exact quantity or a quantity that is greater than or less than what is on the PO. After we enter in a received quantity, we can see below any additional required information that we must capture for this item. Any field that is enabled is data that we are required to record. After we record all the required data, we then click on the Post button. Once we do that, the item is now officially received in the receiving location of our warehouse. Let's receive a couple more items to illustrate some of the traceability options that can be captured for an item. Let's enter our next item. We'll enter in the quantity of 10, and we'll accept the 10 as the received amount. And we notice that there is an enabled field here for the manufacturer's lot number. So we are required to enter this manufacturer lot number before we may proceed. After we enter in that manufacturer lot number, we now can click on the Post button. And we have received in our second item. Let's enter in one more item. The last item on our PO, which are blackberries, and we'll receive in all 5 cases. Here we actually have 2 fields that are enabled and are required, a manufacturer lot number and an expiration date. So we must enter both of these fields, put data into both of these fields before we may post it. In the date field, we can either enter it or we can click on the icon here to move forward or backward and select a date. Now that we have filled in all the required fields, we can then click on the Post button. Once all our items are received, we click on the Options tab and then click on the Close Receipts button. This will close our receipt, and if all items on the PO were received in, our PO will be automatically closed. Additionally, once our receipt is closed, a put-away document will be automatically created, and we can see that in the Related Documents tab. Here's our put-away document that is open. We'll look at put-aways later, but let's first look at some more of the receiving features in GBMS by going back to our list of open POs and selecting another one to receive. We'll click on the filter at the top of the menu bar, and we'll select our next PO. We'll enter in a packing slip number and look at our PO lines. And in this case, we know that all these items here have no traceability associated with them. In other words, we don't have to enter in a lot number, a manufacturer lot number, or a expiration date, or anything else. In this case, we can do what's called a auto receive. If none of these items on the PO have any additional required information to record, and all the items are here, we can click on the button at the top and use the auto receive function to receive all items with just one click. We then click on our Receive Lines tab, and we can see that all the items have been received. Next, we just close the receipt to create our put-away document. And here's our put-away document that is now open. Now let's take a look at how we can receive items from one of our vendors when we don't have a PO. This is called receiving without PO, and the only requirement is that the vendor we're receiving from has to have a vendor file created in GBMS. Let's go back to our receiving filter, and notice that at the top of the form we have an option here that says Receive without PO. Let's click on that. A new window opens that prompts us to enter our vendor ID and then select the warehouse we're receiving into. Let's use the link to select our vendor, and then let's select our warehouse that we're going to receive into. We then click on the Generate the Receiver button. When we do that, a PO and a receiver are automatically created for us. And here we see our familiar receiving screen, where we again must enter in a packing slip, but now when we go to the PO lines, we notice that we don't see anything on our PO lines because we don't know what is actually going to be received in until we actually start to receive it. So in order to do that, we simply click on our Receive Lines tab and begin to start to receive in items. Here we can enter in any item that is a valid item in our database. Let's start by entering in some of the items that we just previously received in. Let's receive in some flour like we did before, and let's say we're going to receive in 50 bags. We will have to enter in a manufacturer lot number, and since there's nothing else that we need to record, we can click on the Post button. If we want to receive in our blackberries, we can receive in a few cases of those. And here again, we must enter in a manufacturer lot number, and then we must enter in an expiration date. And we can then post it. We can also enter in, just to show how easy it is, one of the items that we had received before, which is simply a lightning cable. Let's receive in 100 of those, and tab over, and there's nothing else to record, so we click on the Post button. Once we have entered everything that we need here, all we need to do is go to the Options tab and do as we did before by closing the receipt. Again, a put away is created for us that is in open status, and we're ready to go to just simply put away the items. This concludes our introductory video on receiving in GBMS. Thanks for watching, and please watch our other videos that introduce more of the important features of GBMS, and then be sure to contact Geneva Systems to schedule a live demonstration of GBMS.